Okay, this is so important. I literally cannot like this comment enough. I once heard someone refer to it as rapture culture, which rewired my brain a lot. Now, whenever a doom scenario pops up, I try to ask myself, is this just rapture repackaged as space age Jesus? Yes, 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 yes. And let me tell you, it doesn't have to be religious, right? When I hear, the robots are coming, right? It's just so repackaged space age Jesus. And as we know, cults are always promising space travel. What do we mean, knitting cult lady? So this is what I say to kind of explain the transcendent mission, right? But what you're promised, the achievement of the mission, is almost always in another land, in another body, on another plane, in another grade, on another level. And let's remember, Felon 47 started the Space Force. But yeah, this is something that when we were apocalypse kids, right, we weren't supposed to grow up. We were raised to be unalived, often as teenagers. That's often what we were told in rapture culture. You can see this in my book, Uncultured, which you can get signed copies of here. There's, my editor was actually the one who identified this, and she was an ex-evangelical. She's like, you're having flashbacks in basic training of rapture drills as a child, right? This is incredibly terrifying. But one of the things it does for us is it makes us really bad at future planning, right? We can be really bad with finances. This is one of the reasons that I like thrift stores, because between not having a future, being bad at future planning, and between the ADHD, I just sometimes gotta have a shopping spree, so I make it at a thrift store. We can be really bad at having 5-year, 10-year plans, all of this. I think a lot of times some of the anxiety that we deal with is this being trained to look forward to the rapture, right? Cult members are not afraid of the apocalypse. They want it to come. That's what they've been training for. Preppers aren't afraid of the zombie or the apocalypse. They want it, right? And zombie apocalypse is maybe just a little white supremacy fanfic as well, right? So we have to realize that, right? We were taught to look toward everything ending as comforting, right? We get to be in the arms of Jesus, and all of these life hardships are over, right? I even started to unpack this a little bit in myself, being the flavor of anxiety person who, if my family's late to come home, I immediately think the worst has happened, right? Car accident, police, all the things. And realizing that, first of all, one of the ways I talk myself down from that is nothing's gonna help me if that's the case, right? There's no way to prep for it, so I might as well just enjoy the next hour till they get home. But unpacking this further and realizing that, is it because it's hard? It's hard work to be happy all the time, right? Life is emotionally abusive, and it's hard work to be a trauma survivor living in the world that hurt us. And sometimes in our deep subconscious brains, maybe we have the idea that we could just fall forward and release it all, if something truly, truly tragic happened to us, even in our happy life. So very morbid, and of course not saying, right, we want bad things to happen to us. Nobody wants that. But just thinking about being a rapture child in your formative years and how often that might pop back up in your adulthood in ways that you don't expect. I'm Danielle, a scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I wrote a book called Uncultured about growing up in the Children of God religious cult, going into the cult of the U.S. Army. You can get signed copies attached here.